Hello, other line. Can please somebody tell me if they can see me and hear me fine? Because I'm not entirely sure. I haven't done live in ages, and I was just wondering if you guys can even hear me. Can you hear me? Okay, so there should be 4 people. Cool. Um. mhm. Yes, I can hear you and see you. Amazing, amazing. I was just again, I haven't done live in fucking forever, so I'm glad it works. And yes, I can hear you. Amazing, amazing. I was just again not sure that I said it right. Again, I haven't done live in ages. Jesus Christ, how long? 6 years, maybe. So I'm going to wait a little longer. As I said, I'm going to start at 4, just like in 7 minutes. So I'll be nice and I'll do and I'll do that. Um, yeah, where are you guys from? I assume that most of you will be Americans. I was trying to find a date and time, which is like 4 p.m. So I assume now it's like that means it's going to be somewhere between 8 a.m. in the morning and just like in the morning time in America. So I assume guys, most of you are from US. Or I don't know. Feel free to let me know where you're from. I'm in Europe, so I'm in completely different time zone than most of you. But yeah, I'm hoping you will like the life. I want it just to be a little, a bit more casual. I have some stuff prepared. Florida, yeah. Oh my god, that must be nice. Must be hot though. Um, Humid. Is Florida hot and humid? I know it's hot, but is it humid? I assume it is humid. Um, India, amazing. Yeah, I know. I have a lot of students from India, north, south. Speak Hindi or you speak Tamil? Which part? India, that's a lot of a huge space. Okay, so yeah, I was just I was hoping that my European 4 p.m. will also that's evening for Indians, so I'm just kind of hoping that will be fine. South Africa, 5 p.m. Yeah, you have this very much similar time to I do, so I know that. I have some tarot card reading clients from South Africa, so yeah, it's a nice same time zone or similar time zone. So that's perfect. Okay, seems like everybody's happy. I don't know. I was thinking that if people like this, maybe I'll do some more of these live streams um, every now and then. I'm not really. I used to have a radio show back in the day. You can still find the radio show on our website. Vietnam. Oh wow. Okay, so it's not just U.S. students. Yeah, international, even better. There's one of the things that it's not something I wanted to address. It's not on my list today, but it's something I was thinking eventually I'm going to like I don't know write a blog post about or something. But I really like that I have students that are from all over the world. I have people who are from everywhere from Vietnam, Hong Kong, Australia, US. So it's the majority of the students that I have are from US and India, um, which I'm really happy about. And I was really happy to see that even though I would say certain things I teach, for example, runes are often connected with Germanic cultures, and I've seen actually quite a lot of students from India and from even Japan being interested in this type of stuff. And for me, I'm really happy about it. I'm really happy when people just reach out for something, some tools that they just feel drawn to, no matter like if it's something that is within their culture or not. I'm personally a big fan of that, and I'm happy that these amazing tools are kind of, at least in my courses, they are interesting for people from all around the world. I'm really happy about it. Not able to post most messages. I think there. I'm not again. Like I haven't done live chat for a while, but think this is there is like a setting that's done that you can only post one message per minute. And I'm not sure how to change it. Oh, look at it. Moderation activity. Participant. I don't even know. Pop up dashboard. Is this something I can change? I think it's just like YouTube has it to prevent spamming, but I don't know if I can actually change it midstream. So yeah. So try to like maybe try writing longer messages once in a minute. I don't know. Next time I'll change it if I do another stream. But yeah, there might be like a time lock. Hey, there is edit. Let me. Anyone? Slow mode. That's the thing. So I'm going to change it to 20 seconds. Okay, and now you should be able to post a message every 20 seconds. So that should help. Hello, Joel. Joel. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. I'm sorry if I don't. Joel, I think. Okay, it's almost 4 o'clock. We have 10 people. So I'm going to wait a little longer for those who are late. I'm just going to go roughly through what I have for you today. So I have some announcements. Obviously, I think I was kind of mentioning it before. I have some new course coming. I haven't released a new course for a while. I was moving a house. I was moving into house. So the good part of the year basically took just me dealing with the stuff like roof, bricks, this type of stuff. So I was really I just couldn't even like moving a lot, so I just couldn't really find a space when I just close myself down somewhere for 3 weeks and just film and do stuff. But the change, we already moved, so I do have new course announcement for you. I also have some other announcements. First, I would like to go through some of the questions that I know people are asking about a lot, that just keeps repeating. And after that, after my announcements, I'm just going to repeat. I'm just going to answer the questions that will be in your chat. So I'm hoping like this whole thing is not going to take more than like 40 minutes. So also, it's nice to see you and talk to you live, because I assume normally you just see me recorded. So now you can see me and interact with me in real time. So it's nice to actually, interact with you as well, because normally I'm just like, talking to a camera. There is no people. So it just kind of sometimes it just doesn't really connect in my head that, there are people on the other side of this. So because like I don't really interact with you directly, so that's actually nice to actually like see the students, see the people on the other side, apart from occasional moment when somebody actually recognizes me on the street, which happened a few times. Yeah, if you recognize me, if you happen to recognize me on the street, just come and say hello, like it's fine. It happens quite rarely, but if it does, then feel free to talk to me. I have some stuff prepared, but again, I want this to be casual. Like, come on, like no stress. Like I'm here to like hang out with you. I'm not here to, Jesus Christ, do whatever. But okay, so I basically sit down and I wrote down, I would say 4 or 5 questions that keeps repeating, and it's almost like It's the questions that when I meet somebody or when they start doing, that's usually the 5 questions that first that always come in a situation. Wow, we have 17 people. Okay, hey, hello. Um, so I would like to start with one I'm getting the most, apart from how can I get your certificate and how can I download the PDF, and also why there is no sound on my Akashic meditation record, the meditation. Okay, do out the freeze. I'm getting the most. But apart from that, the one I'm getting the most is do you have to be born a witch? And I think I did address this in one of my courses. I think it's the Witchcraft one. I can't remember. But I actually did address this in one of these courses, I think in one of the final words lesson. That's like usually the last lesson of the course, where I usually say really good things. If you are if you enroll in one of my courses and you didn't watch the last lesson of the course, which is usually called like a final thoughts or something like that, watch that, because that's usually the ones when I'm like giving one of the best information from the whole course. um, but it's like at the end, and I know not everybody manages to get all the way till the end, but I would recommend watch these lessons, because that's when I'm kind of giving like more broader outlook on the topic. So, but because I believe I only address this in just one of my courses, and not everybody is signed up to all of my courses, so let's just talk about this. Do you have to be a born a witch? It's actually it's usually the first question that somebody tells me. It's like, okay, I'm really interested in witchcraft, but I wasn't born a witch, so hence, that's done. I can't do it, and that's the end of the road for me. So I think what I would like to talk about is that I explain basically the whole idea of being a witch, which sadly I think that's incredibly misunderstood. And with the rise of short content, everybody wants to like make a video about witch, and a lot of it is just sometimes about like looking like a witch or having, and a lot of it is just sometimes about like looking like a witch or having some tools like a witch around and just taking pictures with it. But what I see witch as I don't really see witch as I don't really see witch as somebody necessarily who does spells on a regular basis. For me, witch is, I'm just using the word witch because I'm having sometimes hard time to find a word that would be more fitting. Um, for me, witch is somebody who simply just lives in tune with the natural currents, the more subtle currents. Somebody who is intuitive, somebody who can feel the energetical flow of the nature of the world around, can kind of tap into that energy, and in some cases can work with that energy further. Um, I would say that we all have this ability within us. I don't think, well, I'm pretty sure you don't have, there is nobody who's actually born a witch. It's just everybody is having this ability inside of them. And then some people have it naturally more open, and some people have it a little bit more closed. I would say it's very similar to having or not having musical talent. Some people, we all have some musical talent to some extent. It's just for some people it's like way more open, and for some people it's a little bit more closed. But that doesn't mean, just like the same with musical talent, just because you don't have a lot of musical talent, you can't be a musician. Obviously, you can be a musician. You just need to maybe practice a little bit more than somebody who has a talent. You both need to practice. Even with talent, you still need to practice. It's just, it might just be a little bit easier for you than for somebody who doesn't have a talent. And with being a born witch is exactly the same. It's just some people have it a little bit more open, and some people a little bit more close to it. From my experience, um, people who are either women or very feminine, they do have it usually more open, and people who are very masculine or a man are having it a little bit more closed. This is nothing like about genders. It's simply just women have more of the yin energy, and people who are masculine have a little bit more of the yang energy. So um, usually they need to a little bit get from the other side. So the people who are very yin need to develop the yang, and people who have yang have to develop a little bit more yin. But I would say in general, anybody can do it. They just need to understand how open they are at that given moment. And from that understanding comes understanding, well, okay, so I need to practice a lot, or I need to practice more on opening my intuition, or I need to just practice on actually controlling my gifts, because maybe you are too intuitive. You can be like, it can be very open. The understanding, the connection with that flow can be very open, sometimes too much. So I would say everybody can be a witch. There's nobody who's born a witch, and absolutely under no circumstance it has anything to do with the family of the person. Just because somebody has in their family somebody who's interested in witchcraft doesn't mean that they will have a talent or that they will have these gates also open. Um, on the contrary, their connection to the witchcraft can be purely cultural or like family. Because my family was into it, it's familiar to me, but it has nothing to do with the level of their own openness and connection. It can help, but it doesn't mean that there is any connection. So just because you don't have anybody in a family as a witch doesn't mean you can't be witch yourself. Um, when it comes to another question I'm getting really, really often is that problems with meditative states, getting into meditation state. Somebody either is when they're going in that alpha state before doing visualization or before entering the Akashic Hall of Records. Either I have it very often that people fall asleep, that you're going in that meditative state and you start kind of almost like losing consciousness, falling to sleep, falling kind of like too deep in that. That's actually quite common. And lots of people um, think that they're doing something wrong when it goes too deep like that. You're not doing anything wrong. On the contrary, this happens to people, as I said, who are quite open, who have like the intuitive connection with the natural flow of the divine forces very open. So when they go into that state, when they start like slowing down and getting in that meditative state, um, it goes really deep because they're open. So it's much easier to like, you know, uh, flow right into it. So that's why they fall asleep. They're actually not asleep, because if somebody would be next to them, start talking, they would immediately open their eyes up. You're actually not asleep in that state. It's just a state that when you are so like deep into the meditation, the conscious part of yourself is just kind of gone. You're too deep. So what you can do if that is happening is that when you're doing these meditative states, play some music that is not doesn't have any words. It's very meditative, like drumming or something monotonous, something that will slightly like keep you. Hello, I'm Caitlin. Something that will a little bit keep you awake, so you're not going all the way into this sleeping state. Just some, again, monotonous music should be fine. Also, one of the things you can do if this is happening to you is that sit a little bit too uncomfortably. Like sit in a lotus position, or maybe take away a pillow. If you're a little bit uncomfortable in your sitting, then you're also not going to go this deep. It's just we don't need you to like be like in pain, but it's just being just a little uncomfortable and just having a little bit of music, something that will little bit kind of keep you a little bit awake, so you're not falling asleep when you're going in that meditative state. Another question I'm having quite often is that with some sort of vision. So let's say I'm going into Akashic Records, or I'm doing trying to do some visualization, and either the people are not seeing anything, or when they're trying to see auras, they are having hard time seeing anything. They are having hard time to uh, really, or they are seeing something that they did not expect. It's just they are going to some meditative state, like visualizing Akashic records, seeing auras, doing path working, visualizations, and it's just like either there's no visions, or there's too many of them, or they are just like something negative, or it's just not going as planned. I would say in this case, what this happened, the first thought that the person usually have is that I don't have a talent. I was not born a witch. There's something wrong with me. Obviously, if I would be born a witch, or I would have this talent, I would be able to do these things immediately. And there's something wrong with me, and this and that. Sometimes they even lose motivation to do anything. But that's that's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. Uh, as I said, it needs training. So, for example, if you don't see anything, the first time, or you see something that you don't like, doesn't mean that when you do it for the fifth time, sixth time, seventh time, um, most likely it's going to, you will start seeing more. Or what can also happen with training your visualization and psychic skills in general is that there is no move, there is no progress for sometimes weeks of end, and then suddenly it just like almost like a floodgates open, and then suddenly it starts pouring in. So don't expect the progress to also be like a perfect, line. It's not. In most cases it's actually more in the shape of steps. So you're practicing something, it kind of stagnates, and then you do something differently, or you do something and it just kind of hoops into another level, and then hoops. So don't expect things when you're progressing and you're learning some skill to be like a perfect upline. It again, it's most usually it's steps, how the things are progressed. So you do need a little bit of stubbornness when things are immediately not going your way and that are not going as expected, to kind of keep going even when you don't see immediate results. And that's something I would say that's important for magic in general. Sometimes because you are dealing with invisible forces. And when it comes to invisible forces, the things usually first get manifested on very subtle levels. We just like kind of sense the intention and it goes into the subtle levels. And then energetically, it keeps descending until it descends where we are at in the physical world. But that takes time before things really, before things are just kind of circling around in your orbit before they really collapse into your reality. So in general, when it comes to psychic in manifestations, psychic development, you need some patience and give it time, before things have enough time to kind of collapse in your reality. For example, like you want to manifest money or some form of like a job, but it's just from where you at right now as a person, this thing is just so far away from you, energetically, because maybe you have some blockages when it comes to money. Maybe you're even afraid of make that type of money. Maybe you're afraid of success that can actually happen. It's more common than you would think. And then that's why this thing is just kind of far away on your orbit. So you need to give it some time before you see any results, before it really has time to collide, in your reality. So when it comes to any spiritual progress, you're dealing with invisible energies. You're dealing with something you can't immediately see the results. So don't be afraid to just keep practicing and just trust. You need to trust that the result will come of some sort. Um, it's the idea of trust is a huge part of that development, because again you're dealing with something that is invisible. So you don't see the thing itself, you only see the results that it produces. So the the idea of faith or trust is huge. And I'm not saying that there always will be, at any given moment, for absolutely everybody, there will be a moment when they are doubting, like, is this even real? Am I doing something? Like, oh, I've done this spell like million times, nothing happened. Now it's just I'm just wasting my time on nonsense. And everybody has a moment when they are doubting that it's not real and it's not doing it, it's not happening, and their intuition is wrong and their gut feeling is wrong. Like, everybody doubts that. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just naturally what happens when you're dealing with something you can't see. So as you do more of that, you will naturally start developing trust. But the trust is not blind. If you do spells for 10 years, this trust is not blind. You're not just trying to convince yourself you trust into something you don't, when in reality, you are doubting it very much so. But after a certain time, naturally, when you've done million spells and million manifestations, and you did this thing million tarot readings, and you did these things over and over and over again, you start noticing that it tends to produce actually the results that you're hoping it will. So you naturally develop trust. So don't feel bad when you are doubting your skills, your manifestation skills, your spells. That's normal. Just keep going. I was talking about the patience. Keep going. And over time, it will naturally build a trust, because you will see the results of your efforts. But before that happens, it's absolutely normal to doubt. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, I would say it's even better to doubt and then give it the time and the practice to be convinced by the results than try to beat yourself over the head that you are weak in your faith and you don't trust and there's something wrong with you. That just creates, lots of negative energy, and then you bring that into the spells, and it's just, yeah, that's not good. Don't do that. So I would say doubt. That's actually one of the things I wanted to announce. So that kind of covered the stuff I wanted to say as like obvious like questions I get the most, which is like, do I need to be born a witch? I'm having a hard time when I meditate. I'm falling asleep and I'm not seeing the vision the way I wanted, or or it's just not going as planned. For which I see the answers, basically give it more patience. I said I have two announcements. So the first, and then we'll go into the Q&A. So the first announcement I have was that I'm going to have a new course, online course, that's currently already in making, respectively. I'm already editing it. So I'm hoping to launch it this month. And it's because the My Tarot course was very successful. This is going to be the thumbnail, and it's an advanced tarot reading course. Uh, how advanced is advanced? Basically, it's you don't need to take my tarot reading course. If you do, obviously that's an advantage. But if you don't, all you need to do is just basically be able to know the meanings of the cards. Because in this course, we are not going to go for the meanings of the cards. So you need to memorize the cards and at least be able to do free card spread, past, present, future. That's it. So it's not all that advanced, but yeah. So in this course, what we are going to go through is deep dive into tarot symbolism when it comes to connection of tarot and astrology, tarot and numerology. I'm also going to talk about more advanced tarot reading techniques. For example, some good techniques for timing, determining time. There is some ideas about. There's some. Um, Another lesson is about flow in the reading, because that's more advanced and it's extremely important in readings. How to reading flow, how to improve your flow in a reading, or just how to have a good flow in a reading. So that's going to be in the course as well. And there's also a whole section that's going to be about tarot magic, how to use tarot cards for spells. And also the last part is about reading on events, reading for clients, and more like the business side of tarot reading. So that's something that I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's a really good course. It's really practical. There is lots of homeworks and lots of exercises to do. So that's going to be launched on my website and also on Udemy later this month. So that's something to look forward to. And the second thing is that I was mentioning it in one of my newsletters, is that I'm going to launch a book. So we are going to discuss. The idea is that the online courses are nice, but a lot of people also ask me about books. So we are going to launch a whole like a book branch, which is going to be called Witchcraft, Magick and Witchcraft Academy, and that's basically going to be a set of books. So the first one, already have a book cover, so I hope you will like it. So that one is also kind of getting more to the finishing touches. I'm hoping to kind of release that one somewhere between April to May. So this is going to be the cover. You're the first people to see this cover. It's going to be called Mastering Psychic Abilities, the Definite Handbook. And it's kind of expanding on my clairvoyance course. It's something like that, but we go more in depth, and it's lots of exercises. And I would like to more explain these psychic concepts and living with the flow more in detail. And I think that the video is great for like showing things, but sometimes I think that having like a written text you can read and reread and reread can be also very useful. So this is beautiful cover. I hope you like it. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. I think it looks awesome. I was like, wish I would have this book like 15, 20 years ago. So I would definitely buy it back in the day. So I still think like book like that is really missing on the market, something that is very practical and no nonsense and no bias, and it just doesn't go into, stuff I don't think it's necessary to go into for psychic abilities. But again, I think lots of these books just like overcomplicate things, or they just don't give you enough information. Yes, it will be. I'm glad you love the cover. I like it too. As you notice from my stuff, I like this like one of my favorite colors. I like this like electric blue and electric purple. If you haven't noticed, because it's like absolutely everywhere on our website. Yes, it will be ebook and it will be available. So it will be available worldwide. It will be physical book and it will be ebook, so you can download it no matter where you're at. The only thing is that in case you are my student on Udemy, Udemy has a policy that limits me to what I can send you and what I can't send you. So if you want to make sure you will be informed when this book is launched, or being sent coupons and stuff like that, which Udemy has limitations of my communication with you. uh, it might be a good idea to sign up in the newsletter that is in the comment section below, which is like my own newsletter. So uh, I can send you stuff that otherwise I might have a hard time to get through to you. So if you want to be informed about that, there's links in the comment section or in the description section below. So that's going to be launched. I'm super happy about it. Yes, as I said, it will be ebook, and I think it's going to be a really good one. I'm talking about things that nobody else is talking about, and I think that things that I definitely think that should be said. And I think, in general, I think the psychic abilities are incredibly misunderstood. On one hand, some people are completely dismissing them, thinking that's nonsense. But then they go in a building and they have a weird feeling in that building, and they don't know why, and they don't really connect it that it's a basically psychic impression, and they just think, oh, I keep since what a nonsense. I'm like, no, you just got one, so like I guess it's not a nonsense. On the other side, they're like, on the other hand, they're like over sensationalized, and it's like it's neither. So I just want to offer very down to earth, very practical, very simple, very stripped down to very simple, non-biased basics idea of psychic impressions and how that works in daily life as well, how you can incorporate it with daily life. And yeah, it's just like that's kind of my approach to things. As you know, if you my courses, like I prefer non-biased, very simple, non-biased, stripped from unnecessary complexity. Because if you look at it from this perspective, like the most divine things are always the simplest. What is the most divine thing you can think about? Changing day and night, that's divine. Changing seasons, that's divine. Giving birth of a child, like you're a woman, you're growing another person in your tummy. Do you need to practice for that? Do you need some 50 books? Do you need to know the whole Kabbalah tree and all the paths that are between all the sephirots? No, your body knows what to do. It's intuitive knowledge. So you just need to be, in tune with the nature, and the nature does its own thing. So I'm a big fan of keeping things simple and in tune. And that's kind of what this book is going to be about, to really practice that natural, intuitive going in the flow without Jesus Christ memorizing stuff or overcomplicating things. So I think I'm really happy about the book, how it's turning out, and I hope you will like it too. So that's something to expect coming, as I said, either May or April or May. And now it's time for the Q&A. So yeah, shoot your questions at me in the comment section, and I will respond to you know whatever you will ask me. Just before you ask, the certificates takes 30 days. So please be patient. There are instructions in the last section of the course. If you're having hard time to download the PDFs, uh, it's mostly usually because you have a pop-up blocker, or if it doesn't work, try to download them on your phone on the app, If it doesn't work on app, try to do it on a desktop. Usually one of them will work. So that was just the technical questions. But apart from that, if you have any questions to ask me, feel free to write them in the chat, and I'm going to respond to them. One of the questions I had on Udemy recently was questions about offerings. Somebody was asking me how I should do offerings. I think I was mentioning it at some point. I think maybe in the mediumship course. There is a whole article about how to give offerings on my website. Check the comment section below. It's magicandwitchcraft.com. If you go to the article sections, I keep posting articles on a weekly basis. Like there's tons of new articles. So check that. There's a whole article, long article about how to give offerings. I enjoy all the journal prompts. Yeah, the journal prompts. Will they be included in the books of writing? Yes, I like journal prompts. I like them because they are very active. Also, there is a whole article on our website as well that's called 80 plus shadow work journal prompts. So you can find even more on the website. And yes, there will be more in the books. I'm a big fan of it. I'm personally, you took my courses, so you know, as I'm saying in every single course, I'm a huge fan of having some form of magical diary or book of shadows or however you want to call it. Because you think you're going to remember, you will not. I going to bet my life on it, you will not. Nobody does. So it's a good idea to have a journal that basically tracks your journey, tracks your realizations, tracks your learning, because then you just open it after 2 years and you're like, oh my God, wow, what a treasure trove. That's amazing. Yeah, like you would forget that if you wouldn't have that book. Can you, should you cash a circle, I mean, cast a circle around candle spell? If you do, how do you leave it and return? Yeah, well, also, by the way, there's also article about casting a spell, casting a circle on our website. When it comes to whole casting a cycle, um, I would say sometimes it is necessary, sometimes it's not. When you do candle spell, it's not necessary because you are not necessarily calling on spirits or demons or whatever to enter your space. You are simply sending an intention. Now, when you need a circle usually when you are working with something. You need some form of a protection against. That usually means some form of spirit that you don't know. You're doing mediumship, could be ghost or could be demon, or I'm leaving it up to you. I don't judge. Whatever you want to call and work with, you want to call and work with. But if that's the case, you do need circle. The circle is protective. You don't always need it. When you are just sending sigil or sending candle, you don't really need it. Can you leave circle? Well, yeah, but maybe you want to call off anything that you're trying to protect you against, protect yourself against before you do. So, I'm not a big fan of leaving a circle. I would more recommend shortening. Well, that's not always possible if you're, let's say, working in a coven. But if you're a solitary practitioner, I would say keep the if you're calling for some sort of spirit and you do need a circle around you, I would recommend keeping the ritual itself fairly fast, maybe like under half an hour and under 40 minutes, and then just whatever you need to do outside of the circle, do before and then do after. The reason is why to keep these particular rituals more on the shorter side is you need a huge amount of your internal magical energy, your own mana, your life force, your focus, and it's hard to keep it for too long. So I would say keep the ritual as close, short as possible, so you don't need to basically leave the cycle, the circle. It's possible to leave it and come back, but I would prefer not to if I have the choice, especially if you are trying to protect yourself from something that is potentially outside of that circle. Um, I've downloaded the course. Do I need to go through those before going through the book? No, 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 no. The book is independent of the course. It sometimes touches on similar topics, but it goes more in depth, and you don't need to really. You don't need to go through the clairvoyance course before buying the book. You can just buy the book. The book has the book has, I would say, it's completely okay for beginner or for somebody who took the course as well. But it just has a slightly different spin on things. So yeah, no, um, you don't need to go through these courses. Um, you can just go through the book and go alongside. Like the information will kind of um, the courses are, I would say, are more practical because I'm showing you more practical things because I'm on a video. So it makes it easier to show you certain exercises or show you spells. It just makes it more practical to show certain things. The book goes more in depth in terms of um, what it actually is to have psychic abilities, like what it is, why is it for, why we have it, how we can develop it and combine it to exercises to combine it and develop it in our daily life. So again, I would say these things you don't need to go for it. It's just they have more like complementary, like they complement each other. But again, you can just buy the book, you don't need to buy the courses, or you can have both, or you can just have one or the other. um I would say that yeah, I would say that works completely fine. The advanced psychic course actually, it touches some of the topics, like especially in the last lesson I'm talking more about um what actually I believe that it is like this, that the psychicness is just basically being in tune with the currents. But yeah, the book is going to go more into that. You left your tarot course. Yeah. You got tarot course. I have advanced one coming soon. I'm really again. Um, with I would just like to say that with the tarot advanced tarot course is that the thing is that with advanced courses is that when everybody is a beginner, they're all at the same line. They don't know anything about the topic. But if you're making that is advanced, now we are hitting hitting a little bit of a wall because everybody will be completely somewhere else. People who are advanced are doing something for sometimes years, sometimes decades, and they have already pre-established practice, pre-established opinions, pre-established practices. So making advanced courses is actually really hard because I'm trying to find out something that might be new for the people. But for some people, I might be repeating something they're doing something for decades. And for some people, I might be doing something that's completely new. So it's like advanced courses are difficult to put together. So like everybody's like not bored or they are just not keeping up with what I'm saying. So but I'm hoping that this will go well. I can't guarantee, like, let's say for somebody who's doing tarot magic, that this is going to be new because I'm going to do some using tarot cards for spells. So obviously, like, I can't guarantee like 100% of it will be completely like shockingly new information to everybody. But I'm trying to always find spin on it that's my own and that I'm not really seeing other people talking about. And there's actually very little literature or anything that I would of that would be good on like as advanced tarot card reading and on advanced tarot card reading. Sometimes the books I found was more like basically just going more into depth of theory about the various symbolism, which is different for every single tarot deck anyway. So I was trying to make it practical, so it's more like advanced in terms of how to do advanced readings, how to do the spells, how to do tarot business. So I'm trying to keep things practical. Um, yeah, it's again, you don't have to have my go through my tarot course for getting to advanced tarot course. If you just can know how to read cards, it's fine. But it talks about things that the intuitive tarot card class I have is not talking about. It talks more about things like negative reading, negative space in readings, how to do more advanced timing spreads, how to basically connect tarot with astrology and how to kind of understand it from that perspective because it helps to find another layer of meaning of the cards. Again, there's also like a whole part where I'm talking about tarot and business and things like reading for difficult clients and reading for events. um that's like reading on events. That's like you think you do reading, and then reading on event, then that's like a whole new animal. And one of the things that this course really is putting a lot of emphasis on, which wasn't really in the beginner one, is it's the flow of the reading, because it's different when you like know understanding like one card and then one card and then one card, but that on its own is not going to do a good tarot reading. Everybody who did that knows that it doesn't. What makes a guitar reading is the flow of the reading, how you connect the cards, how you connect the spreads, how you expand the spreads. It just kind of, how, again, the flow of the reading. So this course, for a big part, is connect. So it's like focused on helping you to improve your flow. So and also like potentially combine it with also runes, and maybe you want to throw some oracle decks in it. So again, it's just a lot about improving the flow, because I think that's just naturally that's the wall you are going to hit after you learn the cards, basically. Also, I would like to ask, after this advanced star reading course, I'm going to also, I want to like to go back this year and to just, keep releasing more courses. If there is something you would like me to do course about, let me know. I have a few ideas, but I would like to also, hear what you want to say. So like tell me what is the type of stuff you would be interested in, and I'm going to put it into consideration. I'm also, like, as I said, like, this is just going to be the first book out of a series. It says here, Magic and Witchcraft Academy. So it's going to be a whole series of books. I'm hoping to release at least 2 or 3 this year. So yeah, so that's hopefully you will like these. I think they are good. I'm always trying to write books that honestly think that are like really, really good, and they are like filling a gap on the market, that they are just saying things that other books are not saying. Full moon and new moon. Okay, tarot relates to astrology. That's the thing about the tarot relates to astrology. That's going to be in the course. That's in the advanced course. There was like a couple of videos about the minor arcana and astrology, the major arcana and astrology, and the connection between elements and court cards, which I slightly touch on in the regular tarot card course, but just when, because I mentioned that basically the court cards are like development of an element within a person. But now we are going to go way deeper into that. So that's going to be that. One of the things I was thinking is that honestly, I'm still planning to do a whole astrology course. But man, that's like 8 hours plus. That would be a huge course, like intuitive astrology. But I have it on my back burner. I'm considering it. I'm a big astrology fan. I do read tarot charts, but um, that would be yeah, that's something that would be a lot. Um, from yeah, so that's one of the things I was considering. I was also considering yeah, I was basically just considering the astrology. Uh, moment ago you mentioned people doing tarot magic. Yeah, there is, again, like in the tarot course, there is a whole section about tarot magic. Basically, what is a tarot magic is that you take a tarot cards and you use them as an ingredient of in a spell, just you would do with anything else, like crystals or runes or anything else. You just use the tarot card as an ingredient. On top of it, in the course, I'm actually going to be talking about how to do tarot card reading for the outcome of the spell, which is vitally important skill to have. You know, you took my courses. I'm really rarely telling people what to do. I'm a great believer of just throwing the tools out on them and just let them to do whatever you want with it. But knowing how to read tarot cards for an outcome of a spell can potentially stop you from doing bad spell going the wrong way, or can help you to fully understand why you want to do that spell, which then leads towards manifesting certain type of results. Maybe you don't even understand why you actually want to do the spell you're trying to do, and different from the beginning, which is something the cards can point out. Also, the cards can point out um, maybe what things you should do differently to get a better outcome of the spell. So, reading tarot cards for a spell result is something that's going to be included in the course, in the advanced tarot reading course, and I would say it's one of the skills that can really, really be useful. Um, how to connect to a deities? How to? Okay, so working with deities and spirits. I was considering that. Okay, so evocation basically, evocation, invocation, working with spirits. That's a great idea. I think that would be a good course. How to develop relationship with deities. Yeah, it would come into evocation and invocation. Deities, working with spirits in general. Um, yeah, I could do that. I've done a lot of that. Course on magical journaling, how to keep a book of shadows. That's a great idea. As I said, I'm a big fan of it. But then I'm going to be honest with you. I'm such a big fan of journaling, but then I keep getting these messages when people are like telling me like, do I need to write? Like, I don't want to write. I'm like, they're like, can I just write it on my phone? Like, can I just dictate it on my phone? I'm like, okay, we are living in a we are living in a TikTok reality. I'm just like, is anybody like actually interested in me like doing stuff like journaling? And I'm like showing these examples of my journals, which I like all like I don't know, like glitter glue and stuff. And I'm like, I'm not saying everybody needs to do that too, but I just like, man, like I'm just like, so I'm like wondering, like people actually like interested, like having like journals and stuff like that. Again, I'm not saying it needs to be like huge and elaborate, and I'm not saying you need to be like 14th century monk just spending your life just doing like Jesus Christ, like paintings in your books and painting a letter and just making beautiful scriptures, but like yeah, I don't know, like paper and pen. So yeah, I might try to do that, but so far, I had surprising amount of people like no being into this whole apparently archaic idea of paper and pen. So I'm writing it down. Um, but just to let you know, I was actually in a situation when I had to explain the importance of writing physical notes and like why like it's a good idea. Yeah, maybe I'm just from the old generation. So yeah, so okay, I'm putting it there. Like I said, I think it's are you asking me it's helpful? It's totally helpful. It's absolutely vital important to have some form of a journal. Journaling prompts. You can do so much with it. um, uh, course on hermetic practices, as I mentioned in one of my older podcasts. Well, yeah, like that would be interesting. However, like I would say majority of my people who now take my courses have more background in like um more like a witchcraft and herbs and tarot. I would say people would be interested, but the thing is that with hermetic practices is that would be, I would say, better as a book because it's just a lot of theory. Hermetism in general, it's fairly theoretical, so I would say it would fit better as a book because you need to read it, and then you need to reread it, and sometimes it takes a while before it fully sinks in. Do I think it's important? I would say yes, um, but frankly, there is already a good book on hermetic principles, and that is Kybalion. Just one of it's very good. Beginners books for people who are interested in not necessarily just witchcraft, but I would say more traditional occult. That's a good book to start. And then with hermetic practices, Jesus Christ, like where to even start? There is so many different, from New Thought movement to Kabbalah to it's just such a vast topic, and I would again, it's just so I'm just basically now like not really focusing on hermetics in general. I'm just focusing on more practical skills. As I said, I think the Kibali, there's already good book written on it. This would not really work as an online course. And again, I could, like, people can write like 12 books on Kabbalah on its own. And the thing is that I'm frankly trying to move more away from this. A Kybalion is different. Kybalion is fairly simple and accessible, but I'm trying to move away from too much dogma and too much theory and just kind of go into books that are more practical, more down to earth, and then just like, because I think that then people get, okay, you're approaching something, a topic that you don't know much about, let's say cooking. And if somebody will, at the beginning of it, just flood you with lots of theory and ideas and like all the different types of a French sauces and this and that, then the person might get so stuck on trying to master and memorize and learn all that theory that they will, once they go into the point when they are supposed to practice, they will be petrified by fear because they know about all the stuff that can go wrong. And I think they might just get too lost in the terms and explanations and theory and stuff they absolutely do not need, um, before they actually start doing it and on their own and just getting the experience from doing it. So I'm a big fan of like practical skills and simplifying things. So I'm more moving away from this whole idea of hermetism. I could write a book on it, but Kybalion is good enough. If you want to go into occult, I think everything beyond Kybalion is just unnecessary bias and dogma. And the thing is that when it comes to occult, a lot of the stuff is just connected to certain lodges or groups of people. And the problem that this comes with is that we are not meant to all have exactly the same steps in development. If we would, then we would all be born with the same face, with the same hair, with the same life. No, there is not a single two people on this planet that would have the same life or same look. So we are clearly all made to go through different development, and we are meant to customize. We are built to customize their own experience. We should not go through the same magical tradition, or just we should customize. We are physically made to customize our experiences to us, to who we are, and tailor it to us. And in many cases, a lot of occult, either magical orders or occult groups, they are trying to uniform their people because they have A, B, C, D, they have like certain amounts of steps, and to basically force people that are completely different individuals to basically be able to go through these steps and have some even minuscule results, they need to force them in the same mold. And I'm extremely against that. I think that is not just helping anybody to um, pursue anything. I actually think that is just going to basically make them make 10 steps back instead of making 2 steps forward. So that's kind of my opinion. Yeah, and it's control. Like I'm okay. This is something I'm always very open about, and I'm not a big fan of magical orders. And there is like one order I kind of like, but in general, I'm not a fan of it because again, we are not born with the same face. We are not born with the same life. We are supposed to meant for different experiences, and we are supposed to pick and mix and tailor whatever spiritual practices we see around to have something that makes sense to us, because that's going to help us. If it's tailored to us, if it's tailored to somebody else, it's not going to do anything. And if it's tailored to somebody who lived 200 years ago, it's not going to do twice as, like, it's going to do twice as big nothing. So the way how to make at least this work, you really need to mold people to basically follow a 200-year-old path. That, and you can say, well, yeah, because it's universal, it transcends time. No, it doesn't. If it was universal, you don't need to add all of that nonsense around it. So it's just, yeah, it's I'm not a big fan of magic orders. I was always very open about it. I think it's a lot about control and power and patting yourself on the shoulder because you are having some degrees. Um, and But I did meet a few, like a Wiccan groups. Not all of them. Not all of them. Few smaller Wiccan groups and pagan groups who've been actually really cool. I'm more a fan of solitary practitioners and solitary practicing. I think that just kind of is better because like you're not getting other people's energy too mixed up in your own progress. But I met like a few pagan groups who've been just nothing but brilliant, but they were not really trying to like force any personal development on the people. They've been just a bunch of people who will just meet every now and then and just have a dance groups or have a drumming sessions and have dance, dancing sessions and drink mad from a beautiful chalices, and that would be it. So that's something that, and sometimes they would like drum together, drilling circles, but there wasn't any like push to level up or get some degrees. So I was a big fan of that. That was awesome. But like, yeah, that's kind of my opinion about it. But obviously, like, I know other people have obviously different opinions on it. I'm not, it's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. Yeah, but I think that we are already living in a times when it's difficult enough not to get pressured into something, because there is them TikToks and all that stuff, and it's just like so much visuals around, and it's just showing you certain opinions and how you should be and what you should say and what you shouldn't be and what you shouldn't say, and it's just there's like already so much pressure to like mold you into something. I think like the person's spiritual practice, that should be the space where they should feel none of that, because it's purely about your pure soul connecting to the flow, to the divine flow. And it's like there is that in such a space, there is, for me at least, I think there is just no space in that space for like human limitation and pressures and molds. Like all of that should like not be allowed there, because that's just like space when you connect to things on like the most neutral pure level. It's just light, it's just a flow. It's just like, don't drag that crap into into it. I think, yeah. So again, that's just my opinion. So it's the reason why I'm doing the courses the way I do. I'm just trying to be very neutral, never telling people what to do unless it's absolutely necessary. Just give the tools out there and let people to do what they want with it. Um, I'm big fan of that. And you can ask me, well, but Astrid, isn't that dangerous? Yeah, of course it is, but so is crossing a street. uh, yeah, like, yeah, but it's just like, let people just do what they will do. Just like give them the tools and just, Jesus Christ, they're adults. They can make their own decisions. I can tell them what is the danger, what is the benefit, and just let them decide. That's my policy. I'm going to tell you what will happen if you talk to angels. I'm going to tell you what will happen if you talk to demons, and then you you make your own decisions. So yeah, so that kind of that's my perspective on things. I'm very liberal when it comes to spiritual practices. And I'm very happy if people are not afraid to try new practices, if they are like interested in it. And I'm very happy to see people interested in witchcraft from regions that are traditionally not connected with Western witchcraft, which could be places like India, maybe but places like Japan, the whole Asia. I'm really happy to see that the interest is there, because I think that spiritual practices and witchcraft is something that is truly universal. And whoever say otherwise, I would recommend reading some books about proto-shamanic cultures, just to realize that there is literally witchcraft in every single culture on this planet. Every single one of them has history of witchcraft practices. Every single one of them. Witchcraft is not culturally connected to anything. It's connected to every single culture. So I think that deep inside is just something that talks to everybody, because it's part of absolutely everybody on this planet's journey of ancestors sooner or later. And I think it's just something so amazingly universal, that it just has the power to connect people, because people are interested, even those people, especially those people who say who they are not. Um, I would like to, if you have any questions, just let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to just say my last words. Um, uh, In the comment section below, there is a link to our website where you can find a lot of articles. Again, I'm adding articles on weekly basis. If you're on Medium, you can find us on Medium as well. There's also, if you want to sign up to our newsletter, the link is in below. So again, I'm sending basically weekly newsletters with different articles and how-tos and stuff like that. Um, um, what else I wanted to say? Yeah, so I wanted to say that. If nobody has any more question, I would like to. I hope you. By the way, I hope you like this live stream. Again, I'm completely rusty. I'm out of practice with doing live streams, so I apologize if I wasn't too entertaining, but I'm still better than a lot of the people on Twitch and TikTok. I'm pretty sure I am. I know I'm at least a little bit more cohesive. Not by much, but a little bit. And I'm going to keep you posted when the new course is going to. You were very entertaining. Ah, that's good. I might consider doing. Oh, hey, Ava has a such. Is it dangerous to work with spirits? It depends who you're working with. It's basically the same situation. It's like if you would ask me, well, is it dangerous to work with the people? Well, it depends who you work with. So I would say by default, it's not dangerous to work with spirits. The reason is that you always have to keep in mind that you are higher in the hierarchy of spirits because you have a physical body and you have a spirit. That's your soul. So you are a being that exists in a spiritual realm, in a mental realm, in a spiritual realm, and in a physical realm. Where the spirits don't have a material physical body. Hence, you are higher in the hierarchy than the spirits. I know a lot of people would argue with me, but I know they're wrong. So, because you have a physical body, you are here higher in the hierarchy. That means the spirits can't do anything to you unless you allow it. So, in that sense, it's not really um, dangerous to work with spirits. However, now it really depends what spirits you're working with, because some spirits can be quite heavy and their energy can be quite intimidating, and they might be quite difficult to work with. So I would say it's not dangerous, but the chance you are going to get something out of that particular spirit that you're trying to work with, now it depends how trained you are. If your own inner magical mana or power is able to overcome the spirit to the point that the spirit does what you want it to do. So I would not say it's necessarily dangerous, but I would say getting to get the spirit to work with you the way that you want, that's not always an easy task, and it does require a whole bunch of some, again, depends on spirits, but sometimes it can depend on a whole bunch of other skills. But lots of people just work with their own spirit guides, and that's completely safe, and that's usually very beneficial and usually very easy. But then, if you are trying to work with some spirits that are a bit more different than, let's say, your spirit guides or something that you energetically naturally are close to, for example, planetary spirits that exist, and it's that's a bit more difficult to work with. Then you have demons, which you, well, if you feel like it, then just, yeah, no judgment here. Whatever is in your bedroom and whatever is in your magical circle stays in your circles. Like, I don't judge. So working with demons is not dangerous, but but it's like it's not easy. It's just some people will have it easier to work with demons, and that's usually people who are very willful and ambitious. Doesn't mean they are bad, but it's just people who have this very strong, ambitious will and pull. These people will usually need less training to work with demons and will usually have a better results with them, because they naturally match more energy more. It sounds terrible, I know, but people, let's say, who are narcissistic will have a great success with working with demons because their energy is very ambitious, sometimes quite selfish and self-serving and manipulative. So it matches great, and these people will have a better success working with demons than pretty much any other spirit. I've seen that working and then it works just fine. And then other people who are not narcissistic but naturally quite open and caring and loving might try to call the same demon, but they would not get harmed, but they would have basically no results, or then the results would be like completely wrong or just completely off mark, or just like nothing would happen. So I'm not working with spirits is not dangerous, but again, it depends what spirit you're working with. Demons' energy can be really sometimes quite intimidating. It can be quite draining. It can be quite like you can feel like physically drained energetically after talking to some spirits, or talking to some spirits that are strong and powerful, because it just drains your energy to keep the focus, to keep the mana in the ritual, to keep the ritual going. So um, yeah, so it's not dangerous, but it can be intimidating. And the problem is that if somebody gets intimidated by the spirits they're working with, and they get scared, then that's just not a good place where to be in ritual with spirits. It just kind of doesn't put you in a good position. And some people say, oh, you need to like act with the spirits like they are friends. I'm like, nee, not always. Like spirits are spirits, they are not people, so they just don't follow a human logic and human etiquette. But so rather than like, I don't know, talking to them like you're talking for like a fucking mortgage banker trying to get a mortgage. Just for example, when you call planetary spirits, what you want to do is that you change the energy of the room to match that planetary spirit. So you use incense to match the planetary spirit. You use colors, and you yourself charge the room with the energy of the spirit of the that matching the spirit, to basically create environment that's suitable for spirit that is just so different from humans, which is just a spirit of a planet. So that requires already some skills. So I would say it's not something I would necessarily go into as a beginner. It's not dangerous, but it might be difficult for somebody. There are other skills involved. But yeah, spirit guides are fine. Just spirit guides, just some basic guides. Ask for help. That's completely fine. It's very easy. Um, is there a difference in energy with angels and demons? Is there a difference in energy with angels and demons? Um, I would say, like from my experience, um, there's just so many different spirits. Like, and some of them are more like people call them demons, but I would say more like a darker, heavier energies. And some of them are very bright and light. From my experience, I would say a little bit is also a spectrum. Some of the spirits are kind of like in between, or just kind of weird, or just like something completely else, like the planetary spirits. Some of them are like deities. That's just like a whole different, like it's if I should compare it to perfumes, because the energy of the spirits sometimes they don't smell like perfume, but the energy when you're picking up on energy on something, it can be similar to almost to like smelling a perfume. So the demonic energies would be like smelling this very old fashioned, heavy oriental perfume. The one that just like is very loud in the room. Um, it's like this very heavy, strong perfume, oriental perfume, where the angelic energies are more inhumane. Like from my what I experienced was it was energies of something that is huge, like a almost like a house size, like incredibly huge, and just bright light, very inhumane energy. It was just this bright light, inhumane, almost like some more like a sparkling perfume, a perfume that is you can't that doesn't smell like flowers or anything else. It's just this very clean, bright perfume when you can't discern any specific smell. So kind of that's how I would like describe those two energies. But again, like there is just like everything in between. There's all sorts of spirits on both sides. I would not necessarily recommend for a beginner to work with either, with like the clean angelic energies, because that's also quite, you know, because you're dealing with something that's very different than your own energy. I would say good place where to start with working with spirits is your own ancestors, because that's the closest spirits, that's the closest energy. So they will be the easiest to work with, and then, you know, work your way up from ancestors. By the way, you don't need to necessarily work with ancestors you do know, because somebody will be like, oh, my family, like, Christ, I'm so happy they are dead that I don't have to deal with them. Like, I refuse to work with them anymore. Like, please don't make me talk to my shitty grandma. Like, I'm so happy she's gone. Like, I don't want to work with her. Yeah, well, you don't need to work with, you know, ancestors you do know. It can be just somebody. You can just ask somebody down the line. It doesn't need to be like annoying grandma that you absolutely hated, or annoying alcoholic grandpa. You know, it can be anybody from your line. So I would say that's a good safe start. So, anybody have any more questions? Don't be afraid to ask. I'm not going to judge your questions. I'm a tarot card reader for 20 years. Like, you can't surprise me with questions. You have no idea the things I was asked. Um, I'm not that brave to know, to connect to a deities. Um, there's multiple ways how to work with deities. You don't have to necessarily like go all the way to uh, let's say connect with them in some major way. The easy way is just you can just make an altar with some offerings. Again, there is a comment section in the comment section. There is a link to our website. There's an article on how to give offerings. You can just do a simple altar with offerings. You don't need to go in some like huge visualizations or connections. Like, again, like everything with spirituality is a spectrum. You don't need to go all the way, all the way now. You can just do something very simple like offerings on a ancestor altar, or offering on a deity's altar. That's usually good start. Just simple offering. I want to say I love your courses. Oh, thank you. I'm always surprised that people like them. Yeah, well, I'm happy. I'm always trying to make every single one of my courses do like the best I can do at the time. I'm really trying to just make it really good, and like film and refilm, and I'm trying my best. You mentioned spirit guides earlier. Is there one of your courses that will help you to find your spirit guides? Hey guys, we keep circling about me that I should do a course on like working with spirits. I'm writing it down. By the way, there is an article about how to connect with your spirit guides. That's on the website. Check it out. It's in the article section. It's like how there is how to. It's called bridging the gap between how to connect with your spirit guides. Okay, I didn't know so many people are interested in working with spirits. Well, okay. Well, it's fun, so I don't blame you. Um, uh, with courses you are planning, I can't. I love your courses. Please do come for more live session to clear out doubts. I was just not sure if anybody would even come. I was thinking like I would do live session, but then just like I'm going to sit here in an empty room and like sipping on my water. Thank you for this session. Looking forward to the new tarot course. It's good. I think it's good. I think it's going. It's addressing a lot of things that I think that needs to be addressed. And I went through, I think, every single advanced tarot course, advanced tarot reading book on the market, and I didn't like a single one of them. So I'm like, I need to make course about them, because there's like so many things that are being left like unaddressed about that. There's so many like beginners books on tarot which are pretty much clones of each other, like they're all the same. um, but there is like very little of the advanced ones, and they're absolutely not addressing the things that are really important to address, like the flow of the reading. And I'm like, guys, like, are you reading the flow of the reading? And I'm like, guys, like, are you even like actually like reading the tarot, or you're just writing book about like pages and pages of symbolism? Man, I Yeah, I'm definitely. I might even consider eventually, and at some point in the future, write a book on advanced tarot card reading. But of course, blew my mind. Oh, thank you. I love chaos magic. Um, if you like chaos magic, if you go into the podcast section, there should be amazing podcast on a chaos magic with a young magician that is from Alabama, and it's very interesting what he's saying because I think it's called urban magic. I can't remember, um, but chaos magic or urban magic. And we talk about turning your urban magic obviously falls under chaos magic. So we are talking about turning the your city into like a big, basically magical experiment. He is like when he's going with the bins, and I think I even mentioned that in the course that he's like going with the bins, and when he's like going with the bins, he's like basically it is like being a cleansing ritual. So when he's like throwing away the bins, he's like throwing away like all the stuff he needs to throw away. And we talk about like how he's like transforming the city into his like a magical playground. I think it's called Urban Magic. It's in the podcasts, and one of the podcasts that's on the website, and it's an awesome podcast. We talk really about that, and I love chaos magic, how it's basically how it does this, how it's just basically like any limits are off the table and we just go and practice something. And the idea of turning your city into like a magical playground, that's chaos magic, and I love it. It's I love the freedom, like the freedom that comes with chaos magic. It's like nowhere else. Vika can give you a sense of community, but chaos magic gives you the sense of freedom, and I absolutely love it. Like the second you start seeing the world around you as your magical playground, like nothing can ever take that freedom away from you, even if you looked up in a basement. Um, can you create a course how to start spiritual psychic medium tarot business? I'm going to talk about the tarot business specifically in the new advanced course, because I think with advanced course comes, the idea that you're reading for people, and that comes with a whole new set of skills and a whole new set of problems. So I'm going to talk about that. And then with spiritual psychic medium, okay, I'm not psychic medium for money, so I don't really, want to talk about. I just want to talk about stuff actually I am confident I know a lot about. So when it comes to the tarot business, the psychic media, I'm not a medium, so I'm not sure uh, about the business side of things. But I can talk about. I'm going to talk about the tarot business side in the new tarot course. When it comes to spiritual business in general, that's hard to say because there's like so many different skills that can come into a spiritual business, starting from obviously selling books, rituals, ritual objects. So that would be a quite wide topic. But as I said, the tarot one I'm going to touch in the new course. The tarot course that I'm about to release this month. Lots of tarot books, just more theory on the symbolism. Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, like what's up with that? It's just like the tarot books are okay. So you go from the 78 cards, you explain them mechanically with symbolism. You don't really explain like the whole overarching flow of the tarot. Um, which we do in the in the twin and the intuitive tarot course. Who took the intuitive tarot course? They know what I mean, what I'm talking about. It's just like you don't talk about intuitively connecting with the deck. You're just and then like you basically give people mechanical meanings of these cards, and like how do you expect them to just figure out how then make the tarot reading flow. Like if you have okay, I'll give you 6 cards or 8 cards, and even if you have spots for them and you know what they mean, like that's not enough to get a good reading. It's just going to be mechanically reading. Like so I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like sometimes I feel like these people actually don't read tarot. They just like are sitting and like studying the symbolism, and they're like, oh, this is amazing, this is what it means, this is what it means, that's amazing. I'm like, guys. And what you're going to do, if you do tarot reading and somebody will tell you mid-reading that they are going to send their jaguar god at you to haunt you, that happened, I'm not joking. That happened to me a few years ago. Like yeah, like tarot goes way beyond just uh, remembering the cards. There's way more skills that go into that. For example, knowing how to react when somebody tells you they're going to call jaguar goat to bite you in your behind. So I'm not going. I'm not going. I'm going to talk about that. That's going to be in the section about how to deal with difficult clients. That's going to be also in the advanced course. I have loads of experience with that. After all these years, I'm very hard to like you. You can't really surprise me. I think I've heard it all when it comes to tarot readings. Okay, so if nobody else has any questions, I'm going to thank you so much for coming for this live stream. It was definitely fun. I'm considering I'm going to make. I guess I'll make some at some point again. And it was fun. So I'm going to make some of the ones of these again. As I said, I'm just not sure when exactly. I would not consider myself like somebody who like needs to be a streamer and like needs to have the attention and just like admire me, admire me, admire me. Yeah, I'm not that type of a person. So I will consider doing one of them at some point, maybe later this year when we are doing another book or something like that. And I'm looking forward. So I'm hoping to see you in the next course, in the advanced tarot card readings course. And I hope you're going to like the book that's currently that we are planning to do. You are so easy to watch and follow. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy that you think so. Um, I usually think like, oh my god, like I usually feel like I'm always too much. And it's like people are like, oh yeah, sure, you're using your hands too much. It's like it's distracting me. I'm like, okay, so but it's just like I don't, yeah, just like don't even realize I'm using my hands so much. Like, okay, I'm surprised to hear them, easy to watch. So before I go, I would like to uh, say goodbye to you with a short story, something that can happen to me, and I think it's actually good depiction of like the spiritual forces in general. And that is, I have a friend, and her husband. Often, every time I'm not really talking about spiritual stuff to my friends because I'm not like going to stuff it to people who are not interested. But he always looked extremely uncomfortable every time I was like they came to our place, and I have our bookcase that obviously filled with my bookshelves. That's basically a Hogwarts library, and every time I was talking about it, he would say, "Oh, that's just nonsense, and it's irrational, and these things don't exist," and just was very like rational about it. I'm like, I'm not. It's not my job to convince people. Um, so I didn't say anything. I was just like, okay, so he's one of these rational types, who thinks that these things don't exist just because they can't see the patterns that keep repeating in their life. Okay, whatever. And I didn't push anything. I'm just okay, fine. And I was like, okay. So I just closed it with the fact that he's a rational guy, and that's fine. He doesn't believe in this type of stuff. That's fine. And then I brought up something. We were just like, they went in my room, and just obviously my room is like, again, like there's like candles and stuff everywhere, ritualistic objects everywhere. And I look into his eyes, and it wasn't rationality that was in his eyes. I looked in his eyes when he was looking at my candles, and I have the shape ones as you've seen in the candle magic course. And I look in his eyes, and I didn't see rationalization. He looked terrified. I was seeing fear. And that was the moment when I realized that that was a never problem that he would not believe in these things. Because if you don't believe in something, you're not afraid. So at moment I realized the problem was never that he would not believe in these things as he was claiming. The problem was all along that he was afraid of these things. And that made me realize that why people who are interested in witchcraft and people who are interested in this type of occult and magic, the reactions that I'm calling us we because otherwise if you would not be interested, you are not sitting here. We are getting often from people is either excitement, people wanting to go and learn more about it, or fear dressed as rationality. Either way, the both fear and excitement is the same reaction how people react to power in general. So, what this situation told me is that doesn't matter if the people claim to be rational or not. People, if then people say that they don't believe in this or they don't, everybody, even if they claim they don't, can sense the power, and they can't not react to it one way or another. That's why it's so explosive when you say somebody you're doing this type of stuff. You always get quite strong reaction, positive or negative. And I realized that not everybody is able and willing to claim their power, which is fine. We are not meant to all follow the same path. But at the same time, that tells me that if you feel called to it, then nobody has the right to tell you you're not allowed to pursue your own power. So I just wanted to, that was like something I wanted to close this stream with today, just some food for thought. And thank you all for coming today. There are some links at the comment section below. We have tons of articles, as I was mentioning. And I'm going to be looking forward. Thank you so much for coming. And I'm going to be looking forward to see you hopefully in my next course and hopefully also in our books to come. So thank you so much and have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day wherever you are.